In front of me here, I have DJI's newest drone, the Avata. This is their FPV Cinewhoop style drone. I have never in my life used anything like this. And so instead of trying to do a standard review of this product when honestly I'm very uneducated with this style of drone, I'm going to be comparing it to something that I'm quite comfortable with, a standard DJI drone. Maybe you're like me and you've flown other drones before and you're thinking about getting into this style of drone shooting. Or maybe you've never flown any drone before and you're interested in buying one and you're trying to decide which drone is right for you. Hopefully this video will help. This video is sponsored by Tamron's 50 to 400 millimeter lens for Sony E-mount cameras. If you're looking for a versatile lens, this is probably the most versatile lens I've ever heard of. With a range of 50 to 400 millimeters, this might be the ultimate sports and wildlife lens. With an aperture of f4.5 to 6.3, it's plenty fast enough for daytime shooting, and at the longer end of the zoom range, you can still get beautiful shallow depth of field and bokeh. This lens also comes with Tamron's world-class vibration compensation, which allows you to shoot at much slower shutter speeds, even handheld. Best of all, this lens is incredibly compact and affordable compared to other 400 millimeter lenses. If you shoot Sony and you've been looking for a lens with a wide zoom range, check out Tamron's 50 to 400.
All right guys, I have spared you the boring part of setting all this up. You have to pair each of these three things, the drone, the controller, and the headset. I also had to dial this in for my face. You can change how far apart the lenses are inside, and then you can focus them as well. There we go. So this is my first time ever using anything other than a standard remote control. This thing is wild. It's working basically just by tilting my wrist. I can control where the drone is looking. And then unlike a standard drone where you have a forward and an altitude up option, this one you basically can just go towards wherever you're looking. So I angle the drone in a direction where I want to go, and then I press this trigger button here and I will start going in that direction. And the harder I pull the trigger, the faster I go. And surprisingly, I feel very confident already. Having never used this control before, I thought it was going to take me a second to get good at this, but I actually feel quite good.
One of the most impressive parts about this whole setup has to be this remote control. I have never flown a drone like this before. It flies totally differently than a standard drone that has an altitude button. This one basically just goes in the direction that you're pointing it, and this remote control makes the process of flying this drone completely intuitive. While I was filming this review, my jiu-jitsu instructor happened to drive by and see me. He stopped and I said, "You gotta give this thing a try." He has never flown a drone before in his life, and within seconds, he could pick this thing up and drive it around.
Holy crap.
Not so fast that you kill me.
Open your hands.
They're open.
Yeah. Oh!
Have you ever flown a drone before?
No, this is my first time.
Okay.
Now, one thing I've noticed already comparing this to my other DJI drones, this thing is sucking battery life. And I only bought one, oh, I hit a tree. And I'm still going. Incredible. That is probably the reason why I was so excited about this. It has the cage around the propellers. So you are supposed to be able to bounce off things and it will keep going. I don't want to try to wreck it on purpose, but I am very tempted to go into a tree.
For the last few years, I've seen these incredible videos of these racing drones fitting through these tight spaces and going right around objects, almost hitting things. And I've always wondered, how in the world are they doing this? And it makes sense to me now. I'm not going to say I will ever be that good, but within a few seconds of using this drone and using the controller, I mean, I am whipping around at full speed.
Oh, low battery, press brake button to cancel landing. Oh, it's just, all right, it's just choosing to land on its own. All right, so first impressions, this thing is incredible. It's so much easier to control than I thought. The headset, although kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, and you know, you have to charge this and have this cable and everything running, it's so easy to see. You feel so confident when you're going towards something, exactly how far away you are from something, which is awesome.
Now, for the first 2 days of testing this drone, although I had a micro SD card inside of it, it wasn't actually recording, which is very frustrating. So everything you're seeing right here is just recorded through my headset. You actually have to go into the menu and tell it to record on the memory card, even though the memory card is in the drone. And while I'm speaking about memory cards, I will mention that the most annoying part of this entire drone is where they have put the micro SD card. It is in the most annoying, difficult to reach place imaginable, and removing and replacing this memory card every time you want to transfer footage is super annoying. It honestly is a big deterrent from actually using it. I love flying this thing, but getting the footage on and off just because of the location of this memory card was probably my least favorite part of the entire drone.
And there's a horse. There's a bunch of horses back here. Pretty cool, but at the same time, I do not want to crash to the drone right here. I will not be able to get it.
I expected this drone to be fun to fly. I did not expect it to be this fun.
Oh, goodness, this thing, it's sometimes hard to remember that this is not a video game. This is real. And if you crash it, I don't know how much just the drone costs, but is it $600 just for another drone? It's not too crazy, but man, I mean, that's an expensive video game. I don't know if it's this drone or it's the FPV headset, but like, I just want to get as close as possible to everything. And that is a horrible, horrible desire to have. Whoa! Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Before I run out of batteries here, I'm gonna land this. All right, let's put up the Air 2S. As I'm flying this around, obviously the first thing I'm noticing is just how much smoother the footage is, right? It has that, I guess it's the X-axis gimbal, I think, the one that keeps the horizon steady. The Avata doesn't have that. So as I'm moving the drone around in any position, my camera is perfectly straight all the time.
This can stabilize the camera up and down, but it also stabilizes roll from right to left, whereas the camera on this drone can only pivot up and down. This means that as you're flying this around, you're going to get that horizon tilt every time you turn. This drone will keep the camera perfectly stationary as you turn from right to left, which allows you to keep the full resolution. The bottom line is if you want that standard aerial footage look out of the Avata, you're going to have to crop in a ton, you're going to lose a lot of resolution, and the image quality is not going to be nearly as good as another drone with a 2-axis gimbal.
So to tilt the camera on the Avata, all I'm doing is I'm tilting my wrist up and down. On the Air 2, I have an option with my forefinger here, and I can tilt up or down by moving this. Obviously, this little wheel gives me the ability to get very precise movements with the camera, something you just can't do with your wrist. So again, my first instinct with my old drone here is just go up real high, get these incredible landscape shots. But just to do it, let's see if I can fly through those trees that I just couldn't resist with the Avata. Oh yeah, like I cannot do this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, I hit the tree. Oh no. Oh crap. Oh, it survived. So this time I'm gonna take the Avata way up in the air. Can you get those classic shots using this drone, or is it the wrong tool for that job? So I think one reason why I just don't have a tendency to go really high with this drone is because there's not a dedicated altitude button or knob or switch, I have to look up in the air and go up. But as I'm looking up and I'm flying up, I can't really see where I'm going or how high I am, right? I have to kind of like tilt back down and then I got to go back up. So for that reason, I just, like normally I would be kind of tilted down towards the ground. That's where I would be looking, and then I would be flying up as I'm looking down.
This does have options to stabilize the footage, but it's all going to be done digitally. So the more stabilization you do, the more it's cropping into that image digitally and the more resolution you're going to lose. You can turn on rock steady, which will crop in just a little bit, and as you turn, you'll still be able to see that horizon tilt. Or you can switch over to horizon steady, which will crop in even more, and as the drone is tilting, it's going to still keep that horizon perfectly flat.
Oh, but this is so cool. You could never do this with a normal drone. Whoa. I just keep going back and forth between thinking, I really don't need this. I should return it to, this is incredible. I have to keep this. I never fly drones for fun. It just seems like too much of a risk. I only do it to get shots for projects that I'm working on. This is another level of fun. It's thrilling to use this drone. Even though I'm flying way faster, I'm doing much more dangerous maneuvers. Because it's so small, it doesn't feel like that big of a risk. I hate the fact that I only have one battery. I want to keep going and going and going and going, but the battery only lasts for like 10 minutes. And then I have to go home and charge it for another hour, hour and a half. So let's go home, let's charge it, and we'll come back out and do another test. All right, this is day 3. Once again, I just have the feeling like I gotta get closer, I gotta go faster. Can I fit in between those two? So I watched a video online that said you can actually grab it from the top. Let's see if that works. God, that thing's powerful. Now, of course, with this drone, I have the option to just go up directly. So instead of going through tight spaces, I'm just gonna go above the trees. Now, of course, when I go up with this drone, it's able to crab into the wind, but then correct itself with the gimbal. So my horizon is perfect all the time, no matter how windy it is. That's something that you're just not gonna get with the Avata. Going back and forth between these drones, it's just so clear that these are two totally different products for two totally different types of shooting.
The Avata is incredible. The technology is amazing. The price is really good for what you're getting. It's probably one of the most fun products I have used in years. I have had an absolute blast using this.
Whoa, goodness. So now I have horizon steady on. Let's see what the difference is here. So it doesn't look like there's any difference inside my headset, which makes sense. You wouldn't want a lot of stabilization in your view. Oh, you see all these iguanas? Whoa. It's crazy how fearless iguanas are. They just do not care.
However, if you could only buy one of these and you weren't looking to exclusively fly 6 inches off the ground or chase somebody on a motorcycle, I think I'm still going to recommend a standard drone. I'm a huge fan of the Air 2S. There's also other options that are smaller and cheaper and of course larger and more expensive than this one as well. But I just think for the average person who's getting standard establishing shots, who wants to go up really high and just shoot beautiful landscape imagery, I think this is the right tool for that type of job.
However, if you shoot extreme sports or you are willing to put in the time and really learn how to use these new Cinewhoop FPV drones, if you want to shoot these unbelievable close call type drone shots and you're willing to destroy some drones and potentially some property to get those shots, I cannot recommend the Avata enough. All right, I think I have all the footage I need for this review. but I've got a little battery life left, so I am definitely putting the Avata up again. I mean, I have to say, I don't think I would want this to be my only drone, but man, I just want both of them now.